Hello, this is episode 3 of the Tech for Good podcast. We're recording this on 18th of July 2016, and we have our first ever guest. We are a collection of people who all work in the Tech for Good sector. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you we don't have any money, but what we do have is a very particular set of skills. Skills we have acquired over very long careers. Some highlights of the podcast will be social fundraising, match giving, the Facebook fundraising tool, and Pokemon Go. I say highlights, I could quite easily be wrong. Hi, and thanks for listening. We are in order of oldest to youngest. Ben White. You got to say hi.
Say hi, Ben.
I feel like if I say hi, I'm accepting it. So yeah, hi everyone.
Johnny Evans.
Greg's older than me, aren't you? How old are you?
I don't know, as old as time.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll begrudgingly say hi, but I think we need to investigate.
Wait,
the ages.
okay, how old are you? Are you going to say? Do you want to say on the podcast? If you don't want to say, then there's no argument.
Well, I'm just going to silently confirm.
42. I'm 51.
Hi.
Greg Ashton.
Hi, everyone. It's my birthday soon, actually.
Me, Rebecca Ray. Hello. And our fantastic producer and baby of the group, Paul Jakubowski.
Is that true? Yeah, that'll be me. Hi.
We also have a special guest this week, so let's be polite and not mention her age. Faye Schofield. Hi, Faye.
Hi,
I'm 27, just saying, probably the youngest in here.
Yes, that's true.
So it was in order after all.
Yeah.
So Faye, do you want to just tell us who you are and where you came from?
Sounds like blind date. Okay, so my name's Faye. I'm the social media manager for The Brook. We're an international animal welfare charity that works around the world helping to improve the lives of working horses, donkeys and mules. There's approximately 100 million working equines in the world, and 600 million people depend on those working equines for their livelihoods and income and to help support their families. In my role as social media manager, it's my job to basically raise awareness for The Brook across as many social media platforms as I can, and to talk to our supporters and obviously raise some money for the donkeys.
And are you excited to be here?
I am, a little bit, even though it's really hot.
We're excited to have you. You're our first ever guest.
Hooray! So, save the best till first. That's not a phrase, but damn it, it is now.
So we're going to go straight into our first segment, which is Stat of the Month. Greg, please tell us our Stat of the Month.
So, stat of the month. This month is dealing with match funding. There's a study been released this week by The Big Give in collaboration with Researchery, which is just a fantastic, The Researchery. And this stat is 84% are more likely to give if match funding is available. For those that don't know what match funding it is, it's where you give £5 and then a corporation or the charity gives another £5 to match your funding. This was done based on 138,000 donations given through The Big Give, which is kind of why I'm a little bit... It's great, it's a great statistic, but at the same time, it's all through The Big Give. They do balance that by having interviewed quite a few charities and foundations to get a balance with that. But yeah, it would have been nice to get a wider review of different methods of match giving.
I quite like match funding. There's always positive outcomes from it. A lot of good reporting about how well it does, and it makes sense, really. I suppose about if you've got like an urgency around giving. I think that's a big problem with giving. So a lot of people will find a cause and then be like, "Oh, I'll give to it later when I'm less busy." But if there's an urgency around it, like you have to give now, otherwise you'll miss out on this double your money malark. So it's always does really well.
It's great, not just for the charities that are doing it as well. I think for the organisations that get involved with match giving, it's quite good CSR, social responsibility. It's a good way of shouting out and saying, look, we're involved, rather than just quietly giving a little bit of money to a charity. They're kind of promoting that as well and encouraging other people to give, which is really nice.
Wasn't there a stat about genders in this as well?
Yeah, so normally you'd find that certainly in an older audience, women are more likely to give. but matched giving actually encouraged older affluent men as well to give more. There's loads, there's tons and tons of stats in here. Things like match giving gifts are 2.5 times higher on average than a normal gift. Nearly half respondents felt they might have given to an appeal anyway, but the match made them more likely to give. Over 1/3 of respondents said they only gave to a match-funded appeal because of the match funding. So it goes on and on. There's absolutely tons in here. So yeah, it kind of really sells that whole thing of match giving works and encourages more donations.
As an older male, Ben, are you more likely to give match funding?
Do we need to explain how the internet works for Ben, just for his age?
I think that's a crazy stat. What was the last part of it you said? 1/3 of people would not have given had there not have been match funding.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'll tell you why.
I will only give to this if my money can be doubled. I would not back this cause for half of... What? That doesn't work.
No, it does, because we design a lot of fundraising campaigns, and we're all about how do we encourage conversion. And there will be people who are on the edge who will bounce because we've not presented an argument that's compelling enough to make them say, okay, I'm going to give that. And there's two reasons why it's really compelling. One is, if I give £10, I'm actually giving £20, which is a massive thing.
But that's the thing, this is self-reported as well. So what you're saying is I would not have donated to this campaign were my money not doubled.
But that's not how the psychology works, so you don't necessarily think like that. It's just the extra thing that's pushed you over the edge. So it will do two things. It will make you more likely to do it because you feel like you're contributing more. Maybe it's a smaller amount. Maybe you would have given a small amount and you feel like it's inconsequential the amount I'm giving. It's not even worth my time. And suddenly, if it's doubled, you feel like, okay, it make a difference. It will also encourage you to give more because you know that someone else is going to give more with you as well, which is why I think it is quite a big push.
I'm wondering if
the problem's definitely people in that case.
Oh, people are always the problem.
Always.
Yeah.
People
But
are terrible.
That's it.
Except
I'm
for
wondering
good.
if there's a slight difference to this. So say the government does match funding. I'm wondering if people are going, I'm going to give £10 and make the government give £10 because they'll take loads of money off me. Ha! That'll prove them wrong. And
But
then,
they're going to take another £10 off you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Thing is, though, coming from a charity perspective, if somebody's going to give a one-off donation of a tenner and then it gets matched by the government that you've got 20 quid, that's all great, but charities want people to set up regular gifts, so like direct debits and stuff like that, because obviously then in the long run, A, the charities are getting more money, but B, you can take that supporter on that supporter journey, educate them more about the charity and everything that you do. So match funding sounds great, but from a charity perspective, yes, if you're doing a one-off campaign, so like WaterAid have done a lot of match funding before, like with the Big Dig, but for sort of regular kind of campaigns and stuff, match funding maybe not the way to go.
Do you need
Discuss.
normally? Have you done a match funding campaign before?
No, not that I know, but I've only been there a year.
just a hot tip for you here. The Big Give are looking for people to work with for their Big Give match funding event this Christmas.
Writing that down now. I actually wrote it down before, but that sounded really
You were making a
insincere.
sound effect though, which I really
was.
appreciate for radio. Yeah.
This is my fake
Paul
quote.
can put that in later.
So that's okay. So maybe what we're looking at is a situation where you say we will match every monthly payment you make for a period of 18 months.
But then that gets really
Yeah.
complicated, and I think it's the soft ask. So you're getting email addresses through this, so they might not become a regular donor now, but you can then market to them later on and turn them into a regular donor. It's a good way of capturing them and getting money off them at the same time.
Oh, wait. I just read a bit more on this fantastic document and reminded myself of a key stat.
But it was a segue. I said
Didn't read
capturing.
it for the first
I was
time.
gonna, never mind.
Oh right. Oh
No,
wait.
I've interrupted your segue.
Yeah.
Bex
Was that a
is the
segue
queen
to what I
of the
think it is?
segue.
Sorry.
I was thinking that was a great segue, but then Greg was all like,
It was deliberate.
yeah.
Sorry, guy. Well, they do actually mention payroll giving in the research, and
See,
61% of people-
Brooks ahead of the game, just saying.
responded that they would give payroll giving because their company matches the donation. Cue segue.
So you're capturing people's details, just like Pokemon.
Hey!
So we're moving on to campaign of the month now. And the Brook have done a Pokemon
Oh,
Go
wait,
campaign.
Is that where there would have been a jingle?
There's a jingle, Johnny. Everyone's
Catch
ruining
'em
everything.
all.
The visual comedy of that was beautiful, and it's a shame that the podcast can't quite capture it. For
Should-
those who,
this is why you should be live Periscope.
it really is. But someone called my live Periscope a #shambles, so I'm still a little raw about that.
Who was that?
It may have been Rebecca Who.
So,
Paul, you can edit this out, right?
Oh, I can edit it all.
Never.
I refuse to be edited.
edit this, Ben.
Oh, she just swore for
It's
the
That will,
viewers.
that will
job.
genuinely take even longer than Paul.
It's a good job we're not filming it with Bex's potty finger.
Faye,
It's a thing.
Faye, please tell us all about your Pokemon Go campaign.
Okay. So, just a quick question: who round this table has actually used Pokemon Go?
Yes.
I've
Wow,
witnessed
is that
people
it?
use it.
No.
Okay.
A lot of
I
people
never
in
got
our
into
office.
it.
To be fair, it only did launch in the UK on Thursday. However, in America, it's already taken over Tinder for the most apps downloaded on Android and iOS, and it's set to take over Twitter in a couple of days. It's also made Nintendo. Where's my stats?
Can I just say, Faye, I'm loving these stats.
Thanks. It's also made Nintendo 5.4 billion in shares since its launch less than 2 weeks ago. So it's a pretty shit hot app. Oh, sorry, we're not allowed to.
We're rated
We've
explicit on
animated.
iTunes almost 100% because of Ben, so genuinely there's nothing.
And Bex's potty finger.
There's nothing you can't say on this
Okay,
podcast.
that's fine. Okay, so obviously for those people who don't know anything about Pokemon Go, stop looking over Master Shoulder.
It's just got pictures of Wayne Rooney.
It's not. It's the article that I'm reading.
I genuinely
He's a
promise you.
Pokemon.
Are you
Go,
just making
Wayne.
it? Are you just making this
Tackle
up?
attack.
Are you just making this up and looking at photos of Wayne Rooney? I
No,
mean,
no,
we've all
it's
done that,
actually-
Faye. There's
it's
nothing to be
actually in
ashamed
the
of.
Pokemon Go article. Shut up. You've thrown me off now. So for those who don't know about Pokemon Go, it's basically an app that works with a phone's GPS. So you have to walk around in the real world and catch virtual Pokemon. So it's only original 150?
51.
Is that Mewtwo?
Mewtwo.
What's 151?
Mewtwo.
Are these
151
words?
original
That's
Pokemon.
one of the Pokemon.
Oh, so a Pokemon is a type
Pocket monster.
of. Okay, it's 151 of those,
That's what Pokemon stands for, Pocket Monster.
and it's 151 of them.
Yeah,
Hey,
in
sorry,
the
yeah.
original generation, but there is 6 generations, but we're going to go down the rabbit hole here if I carry on, because a little bit of a Pokemon.
It's a small detour, which is really unlike me. Is there one that's called Torchic? Torchi?
No.
Well, one of my friends, that is their Instagram handle. And whenever she posts a photo, she gets bombarded with people saying, "Can I have your Instagram name because it's a Pokemon?"
It might
I'm
be.
gonna Google it. Hold
It
on.
might be like a newer one. I mean, I don't know anything about
Yeah,
those
it
newer
is.
ones.
No, you are completely right. It looks like a weird chicken.
Who's the king of the Pokemon? All of a sudden,
You
Johnny
haven't
Evans.
even used the app, man.
Well, but
you can't even talk
hey,
about
but my
being
knowledge
like
of Pokemon
Master.
lore is clearly magnificent because I just pulled that out of the bag.
Well,
Oh.
Lure, not a lure. There's I know this about Pokemon. You can lure someone.
Law.
No, lore is
Wait,
the
isn't that
history and
Tinder?
the magic.
Yeah,
No,
unreal.
I know this because
You can edit this
Swipe
out, right,
left
Paul?
to
no, you're not
catch.
going to want to edit that. This is a defining moment of both the podcast and Pokemon Go. So you can lure people out. You can lure a Pokemon.
Kind of.
Not
kind
people,
of.
Johnny.
There's
That's a different app.
Okay, right. We don't lure. Hey,
not people,
Oh,
Pokemon.
I've been
Not
doing
lu-
it. I've been Pokemon wrong.
Don't
Okay.
lure people, because NSPCC had a massive kick-off about that.
Aren't they the greatest sport? Is man? No. Anyway, why this is interesting is Rebecca Bex is incapable of saying that word, right?
I forget which one it is. I'm not very good at vowels. Lure.
Lure.
Right?
No.
Yeah,
Lure.
It is lure.
Yeah.
There was
it's
too
you.
much. There was too much of an extravagance in the way you said
Lure.
that.
Lure.
I can't say
Lure.
that because I'm northern, so I'm just going to say attract them instead because
Okay,
that's
let's go with
easier
that.
to say. Basically, so to summarise the app, it's a virtual reality game. It works with your phone's GPS. You have to walk around in the real world and catch virtual Pokemon, pocket monsters, for those who don't know. So basically, at the Brook, we were kind of thinking, okay, so people are it's trending on Twitter, it's trending on Instagram, on Facebook. What can we do to not only try and connect with a younger audience, but to also raise some much needed money for working horses, donkeys, and mules around the world? So what we've basically asked our supporters to do is set up their own Pokemon Go hunts, but whilst they're doing it, actually get I've lost my words. Get their fellow get their fellow budding Pokemon trainers to join them and actually set up sponsored Pokemon Go hunts. So this could work in a variety of ways. So they could either set up their own routes. So obviously, the more adventurous the route, the more likely people might be to fundraise. The more Pokemon that they catch on the route, the more likely they might be to fundraise, and all this kind of thing. I would like to say we were the first charity in the UK to actually launch this campaign. Lots of other charities have come out of the woodwork since and actually done similar campaigns. Congrats to all of you, but just saying we were first. We've also been featured in a lot of the charity press as well, which is great. So yeah, if you fancy going on a Pokemon hunt and also raising money for some working equines, go visit our website and find out more.
Awesome.
And what's that?
www.thebrook.org.
Is it the book with an E?
Yes.
Ace.
So how easy does Pokemon Go make this process? Have you was it ever built for this kind of sponsorship, this kind of linked in with other services, or?
To be completely honest, it's literally like 2 weeks old. There is sort of a couple of issues with the apps, like when it launched on the UK, the servers went down because so many people were obviously trying to download it and stuff like that. But a lot of our audience is based in the US, so we actually launched our campaign the day before the app was released in the UK, A, to sort of attract sort of our US audience, but B, to kind of be ahead of the game as well, and also get the word out there.
I like the way you've twisted it, so it's like do a sponsored Pokemon Go walk or whatever it is, but because you're not location specific, but I suppose it would help a lot better for charity shops or location specific charities, because you can put a lure, whatever. And
Attraction.
and so I've noticed a lot of events, or so the market in Levenshulme near my house set up a lure. I can't say it, I don't like it.
No, I think it's
An
right. I think what you're
attraction
saying is
thing.
fine. A lot, yeah.
An attraction thing.
Bex,
And
when we start talking about buzzes, you can all take the mick out of me for that.
pardon?
Buzz.
And so that was great. So loads of Pokemon people who were interested in it came to the market just to catch some Pokemon. Like, I thought that was like a really clever way of using
That's
it.
really good.
Yeah.
There's also another charity that I can't remember the name of, but they actually set up a Pokemon gym at their charity shop. So obviously people that kind of want to go battle and train up their Pokemon can actually go to the actual charity gym and actually, battle Pokemon, but also hopefully donate or buy an item from the charity shop at the same time.
All right, I'm going to ask some questions. Do the Pokemon get killed?
No.
So what happens when you battle a Pokemon?
But you never
Do you
watched
win it
Pokemon.
off the other one? No, Christ.
How
no.
old are you? Pokemon's 20 years old.
Are we going to call this
Ben was
the
probably-
Ben is so old podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Ben was probably lost in the foothills somewhere in South America when
So-
Pokemon was
Wait,
a
it's
thing.
Ben
What
been
happens?
to South
You battle
America?
Pokemon.
So
you take them to
basically-
the gym.
So basically,
I mean, you guys don't know how weird this sounds to me. You take the virtual pet that you've chased through a real location to
Okay,
the gym,
can't-
and then
can't
you're battling with someone else.
sort of. So basically, you're walking about in the wild or whatever,
When you say the wild, do you mean town?
just
Yeah,
town,
just around
wherever
town.
you are,
Okay.
the wilds of Manchester / London / wherever you might live. So you come across a virtual Pokemon, you chuck a Pokeball at it, which
Yep.
is
yeah,
something.
okay, it's a catch thing mechanism.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Keep depending on the level of the Pokemon. If it's a low level, it might only take like one Pokeball. If it's a high level, it might take 3 or 4. You catch the Pokemon, that then becomes kind of like your pet kind of thing.
Ben, I can't believe you're asking this.
Like,
This is
like
really
a
low.
Tamagotchi, Bex.
This is really low
Like
quality
a Tamagotchi.
content.
Yeah,
it's not
like-
kind of like you catching a
There's
Tamagotchi.
definitely people out there who will have a similar lack of knowledge about this.
No,
and this is fascinating.
We've literally just lost all of our millennial
Literally.
audience.
Yeah, everybody already knows, Ben. We're not going to sit here
We
and
lost them
explain
after 8
Pokemon.
minutes anyway. We've got stats on their attention span.
Basically, you catch them,
Yeah.
you train them
But
up,
when you
become
fight, who
stronger.
wins? What happens?
Well,
How'd
it's,
you be the best?
it's Pokemon versus Pokemon, so
Right.
it's depending on what type of Pokemon it is, what attacks you use, which
Oh,
one's
God.
stronger.
Right, okay.
So it's kind of like, imagine a boxing match with
Yes.
virtual pocket monsters,
Okay, yeah.
and the strongest candidate wins.
And what happens to the loser? Dead.
It just not dead. They don't die. They just kind of get zapped back up in the Pokeball and,
And
like
then they
go
go-
for a
okay.
sleep.
So
It's just emotional
So
damage.
it's animal
Wow.
welfare
Yeah.
friendly.
That's
it
good.
It isn't. It
That's
isn't.
good.
It's
No,
not
that's
animal
bad.
welfare
Right.
friendly. Don't battle horses.
So we're not allowed to capture real animals and put them in balls to unleash them upon unsuspecting members of the public. I've been Pokemoning wrong again.
Yeah, you've definitely been Pokemoning wrong again.
As a user of the app, is that what a Pokemon trainer is? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting a hang. I know nothing about it. I'm utterly ignorant in this.
It's like
and many
Conkers,
things.
Johnny.
It's like digital Conkers. I'm not joining the old group. Okay. I'm beginning to understand Pokemon Go.
Can you
a little
explain
bit,
Conkers
I
to me?
think.
Yeah.
Conkers for good.
It's like Pokemon, but you don't have to take them out of the balls, basically.
Just drill a hole in them and put a string through it. Yeah.
Brilliant. Pokemon Go, Conkers for young people, right?
That's
No,
that's what the App
Conkers for
Store
young-
description
Yeah.
says, actually.
Yeah.
Digital
Okay.
Conkers.
Still put
Right.
chlorine and
What,
vinegar and stuff
can we
like that.
have we asked like what the response has been like?
It's been really, really good on social. So we've had some really, really nice feedback. There's people been sharing screenshots of like Pokemons that they've catched. Obviously, for those old people then in the room, there is 2 Pokemon that actually look like horses. So obviously we use those in our marketing because we're a
Rapidash and Ponyta.
Thank you. Obviously, because we're an equine charity. So yeah, the response has been great on social. We've had a couple of people already sign up who are going to be doing Pokemon Go walks around London, which is really, really nice. We got quite a lot of press coverage as well, like in the charity press, which is always good. So yeah.
But has anyone done one yet?
Not yet. They've signed up for it though. So yeah. And the one that like I'm really excited about, there's a girl who's doing it round all the famous landmarks in London, because that's where the best Pokestops are, in London.
Whoa, Pokestops.
What's a Pokestop? Because we were in London.
It's like a corner shop, and you can like go visit it, and you get Pokeballs.
Okay, because we were in
It's not actually a corner shop; it's like landmarks and stuff.
'cause Greg and I were doing a workshop in London today, and we went and had lunch and sat in a park, and it's like a stall in the park that was selling food and drinks, and they had on their chartboard there's a Pokestop here. Pokestop?
Whoa,
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Pokestop, yeah.
Pokestop.
I felt like it should have an accent over the E or
Definitely.
something, because Pokestop was what it read.
It does have an accent over the E.
Oh,
so it
well, they
should've done.
forgot it.
We should have
Yeah.
given
Yeah.
some feedback to that
Yeah.
restaurateur. So,
Overselling it a little bit.
I sell. I'm a designer. It's what I
It was
do
more of a
well.
cat,
It was more of a cat. So I saw a tweet that was quite sweet because I'm slowly beginning to understand a little bit more about what Pokemon Go is. Partly so I don't feel so horrendously old. I saw a tweet that was encouraging people to set a lure. Say it, Bex. You say it with a flourish.
Oh,
Lure.
Lure.
Lure
Shut up.
in hospitals because there are kids who would love to play and actually can't leave the
Aw.
hospitals. That I thought was like really, really sweet because it's been. I don't understand it, Pokemon, because it is not really my time. But there's been some horrendous, like, just really like
Yeah, there was
dickish
like
things people have been saying, like about people who are playing this, as if they're like, Joe, you turn on the news and just everybody is dying and it's horrible. I just find it kind of sweet that you can go outside and you can see people running around and having fun.
Yeah.
It makes a nice change.
Yeah, we made friends with a little girl in the pub the other day because she
Yeah.
was telling me all about all the Pokemon she'd caught and she's giving me tips. She saw me trying to load it and I've got 3 Pokemon and she was very disappointed by me.
she had like
63. But it was lovely to like interact with her just because
Yeah.
she saw that I had the app open. We were now best friends and
Yeah.
it was really nice.
No, it is nice. I even had somebody come up to me on the tube the other day going, "Oh, you're trying to catch Pokemon?" Because I was trying to load it on the tube, and I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, yeah, Pokemon Go doesn't work down here," and I was like, "Oh, thanks for the tip." So yeah, even people in London will talk to one another because of Pokemon Go.
Well, there's hope for everybody if that's
Exactly.
the case. What is a Pokemon gym?
It's where you fight. We're not going. We're not
No,
going
no.
through the entire room.
Let me tell you why. I literally, someone just tweeted saying, there really is a Pokemon gym in the middle of the Pentagon. How can this go wrong? What is a Pokemon gym?
It's where you basically take your Pokemon to battle Pokemon gym leaders who are like super Pokemon masters, and if you go and battle them, you win like a badge. Not like a Blue Peter badge, but like a really good badge.
I feel I have more questions than answers now. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic.
Greg, please tell us about the next campaign.
So the next campaign is something sounds quite interesting, and then I slightly get annoyed when I read more about it. So, TEDx speaker and behaviourist Jez Rose has decided to do a project called the Just One Project, And the aim of the project is to raise 500,000 in just 5 months for 5 charities using only social media. And this is being sold as not just a fundraising project, it's also being sold as a social experiment, social psychology project. And they reference that fantastic Kevin Spacey film, Pay It Forward, as the principle for this, which is the bit where I start going, what?
Do you like that film?
No, I hate that film.
Like, genuinely,
Haley Joel Osment, isn't it? Is he?
every bit of me died watching that. It's just...
I mean, the idea is fantastic, but the kind of... social media fundraising, this has kind of been the point of it for the whole of social media fundraising, hasn't it? Like, getting other people to encourage other people to donate money.
How is she doing it differently?
Yeah.
What's her tactic for? Because I mean, every single charity in the world will have, well, most of them will have tried social media fundraising. So what's different about her campaign precisely?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, there's lots of like media coverage, different articles people have written about it. But yeah, it basically just funneling into people's networks and getting their friends to donate.
Thing is, though, if somebody's going to donate via social media, then they have to transfer away from social media to be able to donate. So is she not using any website? Is she going to have like a text to donate number? Is she just going to let people donate via PayPal?
What's the payment method?
Yeah, it's like it's great to be able to say, oh, let's do like a massive social media campaign and let's raise like, you know, £500,000 in 5 months or whatever. That's fantastic. Jesus, if I could raise £500,000 on like Facebook in 5 months, I'd be laughing. Well, I'd probably be rolling around in a massive pile of like fundraisers money and petting horses and donkeys at the same time.
Mules as well.
And mules. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. You might be old, but you're
I
still
remember
switched
3
on.
words about horses.
But how is she going to get people to pay?
The details seem to be fairly sparse on this. Essentially, the whole premise is, I mean, they reference the number of friends she has on Facebook, connections on LinkedIn, and it's kind of along the lines of, oh, if each of these people donate £1, then we'll raise this much money, which is kind of like
This is
fundraising 101, right?
campaign since time began. It's like if everyone just donated 1p,
Yeah.
but everyone in the world
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
What is she actually raising money for?
So there's 5 different charities. Let me see if I can find these ones. So it's Roald Dahl's Marvellous Children's Charity, Basics, Hertfordshire, whatever, Brain Tumour Research, Youth Sport Trust, and Contented Dementia Trust. I mean, it's a fantastic idea, and if it pulls off, it'll be great. I'd like to see more details on what's going to happen. I've been searching around, but they all tend to be the same bits of information. But like you say, it's something that is kind of basic fundraising.
So if you were going to base a fundraising campaign on a Kevin Spacey movie, which one would it be?
Does it have to
The
be a
Usual
movie, or
Suspects.
can it also be
Could be a theatre
TV?
production.
House of Cards.
Go on.
Ooh.
Swimming
I
with
don't-
sharks.
I don't even know. I just really
yeah,
like
that's
House
a
of Cards, and I just wanted to
Swimming
mention
with
House.
Sharks. I
I've
think.
never
Sharks.
seen that.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Did he actually swim with sharks?
No, it's...
Or
Yeah.
he metaphorically swims with
He
sharks.
does.
Ah,
Usual
okay.
Suspects, though, is great.
Yeah.
What was the one who's an alien?
Yeah, but
well, what
swimming
we
with
did know
sharks
was alien
works.
K-Pax.
K-Pax.
Swimming with sharks works in a fundraising sense, though, because you could get sponsored to swim with sharks, right?
Yes.
So how does everyone else's make sense?
The Usual Suspects. I
Yeah.
just really love that movie.
That's not good.
You'd have to create a narrative about a fake charity that didn't really exist, and then appalled everyone at the end when they realised the implication of it.
I could totally do that.
K-Pax?
Am I right in
K-Pax.
thinking John Bon Jovi is in Pay It Forward?
Yeah, I think he is.
I need to
actually.
watch this film because I
You
absolutely
genuinely don't.
No, I love John Bon Jovi.
There's only one film worse than Pay It Forward, and
What?
that's The Bucket List. Yeah.
Oh, see,
That's a good call,
maybe I've
actually.
just got really shit taste in films because I actually kind of like that.
You
I'm
like The
fairly
Bucket
sure
List?
John Bon
Yeah.
Jovi's been in the worst
And I
film
did
Pay It Forward.
even study film at uni,
What was-
which makes me
He
ashamed.
was in something about
That doesn't mean that
He
you.
was, wasn't he? Or maybe a house by a lake. He had to paint it, and he fell in love with Sandra Bullock. I think.
Oh,
You know
the
a
Lake
lot.
House.
could be.
And
With Sandra Bullock
I
and
don't
John
think it was.
Bon Jovi.
I don't think it was John Bon Jovi. I think it was Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Maybe
They're
it was-
very similar.
Yeah, I was going to say, he definitely fell in love with someone with water involved.
They're both
They-
oozing charisma.
They put letters in the post boxes and they travel through
Oh
time.
no, it wasn't that interesting. No, it's
That's
worse
the
than that.
time
He was
traveller's
just a
wife, isn't
decorator.
it?
Oh right, okay,
Isn't that
no.
the Notebook? I don't know.
That's the
I
time traveler's
know.
wife.
I might be thinking
I
of
don't
the
know
video,
any
the
of this
Christmas song he did with Claudia
I'm going to
Schiffer.
suggest we don't do a spin-off podcast about movies because none of you know anything about movies.
Apparently not.
Yeah, I think you're mixing up because the one you're thinking of with Sandra Bullock is The Lake House.
Fine.
And Keanu Reeves played a frustrated architect. Is there any
Wow.
other
How-
type?
Why would an architect be frustrated? Because he can't build the house of his dreams, or just because
Yeah, I
he's
think
not?
that's exactly it.
All right.
He's
okay.
also,
No,
but he's also
he
like
was
a
that-
full human here. He could have been frustrated about something non-architecture
He has to
based.
travel through time to see Sandra Bullock.
He has to travel through time
Drives
to
me
build
nuts.
his dream
Can I
house.
just say that Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock in the same film together, like they both can hardly move. It's just a weird film.
Have you seen The Matrix?
Yeah, he moves quite
but
a
he
lot in
moves
that
quite
one.
It's
lot
like
in
very
that.
like, you know, robotic.
And have you
has
seen
a-
$1 Million Baby? Is that her in that? No,
No.
that's
That was
not
Hilary
her.
Swank. He
She's
has a
incredibly
neck
rude.
issue though, Keanu Reeves. I think he has like a plate in his neck or something, which is why he kind of turns and.
I
Must
feel
be
like
a bitch going through
I'm going to
airports.
interrupt everyone here. I feel like potentially this was a bad choice for the podcast, seeing as we've just randomly segued into discussing Keanu Reeves.
Can I just say my
Yeah, but
most
Greg, how far
interesting-
back do you unravel
Yeah,
this
yeah.
thing?
Yeah,
Bex,
okay.
Bex is in a minute going to do a segue from Keanu Reeves into charity. 5, 4,
Oh my God.
3,
Pressure.
2, 1, segue.
So The Matrix is like a Facebook fundraising tool.
Flawless. Absolutely flawless. Like, we're going to call it a Bex way from now on.
We're moving on. Tech news of the month.
Woo!
Jingle.
And we are starting with the Facebook fundraising tool. Greg?
Yeah. Hi everyone.
This is not a commercial break, you know. Welcome back to the podcast.
I wrote a really good blog post about this in November, actually.
I read that.
Yeah,
See?
a few people did, at least 10.
Wow.
We're
Hey,
9 of them in the room.
if you Google Facebook fundraiser tool, it's like in the top 3.
I'm bashing it. I read it and I shared it.
Yeah.
It's generally, if you
fantastic.
Google tool, something by Greg comes up.
Oh, but
Oh, it's a slow burner. It really was.
it's like one of them Bunsen burners you get at school that never quite switches on properly.
Yeah.
Jesus, all right,
Bunsen
fundraising
burners at
tool.
school. How old are you? Yeah, I've been
Not
saving
as old
that.
as
Been
you,
saving
mate.
that.
Not as old as you.
This has turned into like
We had to
a
invent
nasty
fire.
podcast this week.
The challenge.
Guys, can I just say they still have Bunsen burners?
Yeah, how the hell would they burn stuff?
Named after
Well, Greg.
named after Pablo Bunsen, who invented it in the 1929.
Is that when you were still alive, Ben?
Still alive.
Still alive.
They were just called Pablo's at my day.
Yeah. Just to clarify, I made that up. I don't know who invented the Bunsen burner.
Definitely
Can-
Bunsen.
So, yeah,
Robert
Facebook
Bunsen.
fundraiser
Robert
tool.
Bunsen.
Robert Bunsen.
Yeah, in 1852.
Bob Bunsen.
He was hired
That's
by
a
the
great
University
name.
of
Bobby Bunsen.
Heidelberg.
I'm
But
really
anyway,
pleased you
let's
can
move on.
Google.
I knew
Johnny.
that. I just know so many Bunsen facts.
I think I've died inside. Facebook fundraiser tool, anyway. So this is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's a fantastic idea for charities, but it's really going to put the cat amongst the pigeons as far as other fundraising platforms like Just Giving go. They've been trialing it in America with 3 charities, including the WWF.
Wrestling.
No.
No, the Panda one.
Raising money for John Cena.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar.
That's a bit
Hey,
fun.
I
Yeah.
donate.
Randy Savage.
Have they only been doing it with only 3 charities?
Well, I'm not sure if they've broadened it out to other to the rest of the charities. And the information seems to be a bit sketchy.
It's Facebook, it's
Yeah.
always sketchy.
Yeah.
Them bastards.
And essentially what it's going to be is you're going to be able to set up a campaign page for a specific fundraising goal. You can set a totalizer so you can see how much money you've raised, and you'll be able to donate directly through Facebook. with virtually kind of like 2-click donations. So you'll put in your payment details straight onto Facebook and donate right through there, which should reduce that whole kind of interruption in the user journey where currently they click your donate button, it takes them off to another website where they then have to fill in the form on that website, which should help charities to raise more money. But platforms like Just Giving, which charities have been using for a while now, are going to get completely nixed by this because it's removing the need for them.
Greg, what other Facebook apps can directly access your credit card? There's not that many.
Nothing yet.
Literally, this is the first time.
The rumour is this is the beginning of that.
Because that's what it sounds
You
like.
can shop through Facebook though, can't you?
Yeah, but it's the
It's
same
one-click
thing. You can go off.
Right,
So
okay.
the rumour is that this will be the first stage where they can introduce people to adding their payment details to Facebook, which will then save them and give you one-touch donations or one-touch payments. And then obviously they then roll that out to kind of commercial retail aspects, and you'll be able to just buy a T-shirt or a new DVD directly through Facebook. Which is quite a cynical view.
So yeah,
It's
Facebook
such an
basically wants
altruistic.
your credit card and is willing to use charities to get it.
Yeah, it's like those cats from the last episode.
Essentially their goal is they want to be the internet, Facebook. They want it to be the one site that you go to. And to some extent, I don't care if it kills Just Giving if it's better for the charities. That's how competition works. The flaw is fundamentally, I use Facebook, they're an evil organisation. That's simple as the facts. What the things they'll do with your data is reprehensible. They pretend to be one thing. There's a scandal at the minute where Facebook have made it illegal to that's in my eye, which is dreadful. Facebook have made it illegal to sell guns on the internet on Facebook. So you can report a gun club that sells guns and they'll in theory shut it down. But it has come out recently as a member of staff employed by Facebook who is working against the policy to teach groups how to kind of hide from that. So people who are now blocking reporting guns on Facebook are banning you, or they're removing the option to actually report this is a thing that sells guns. So they pretend to be one thing and they're actually another. So it's great if it's great for charities in the short term. The question is, what if they do kill off the competition and they ramp those fees up?
Yeah.
The data that they'll be gathering and what they'll be doing with your credit card details is all.
Has anything come
concerning.
out about how much of a percentage,
5%.
which is the same as Just Giving?
Yeah,
Okay.
spot on with Just Giving. So,
Yeah, and aren't they doing it free for the first few months? So that's going to be a bit like, that's going to challenge Just Giving.
They suck you in with the freebies, and then
Like
ramp
they
up
did
the
with
cost.
advertising and everything else.
Yeah.
And just having a page. And I think the problem, it doesn't matter, Johnny, that if they take over Just Giving, if it's better for the charities. I get what you're saying with that, but actually, it's not because I don't know if Just Giving like crumbles because of this, which it might do. Then we're losing loads of our audience there because not everyone's on Facebook, whereas Just Giving's a lot easier to interact with, and everyone's willing to interact with Just Giving. So I don't know. It's
Yeah, because competition also works by having competition rather than just the strongest rising to the top and becoming a monopoly. And I think it's weird you were saying that they want to be the internet, because I'm fairly sure that a long time ago when I was a young person,
1915.
we had Amazon. And I think Amazon's stated goal at the time was we want to be the single port of call for anyone who accesses the internet, which seems insane now, but at the time seemed like a kind of...
I remember when Amazon just had books. Remember
Yeah,
that?
exactly, yeah.
And the thing is as well, so
And it was good, and you were like, oh, books on the internet, what a great idea.
it'll never take off. Is that if and it is if Facebook win that and they become the most prominent way to do that, is the danger with that is not the purpose of Facebook, right? Where Just Giving, that is their singular purpose, is to raise money for causes. So there's an element of trust that you'll be willing to let them have. Where with Facebook, you just don't have that. You've no idea what their long-term plans are for it.
True, but coming from, obviously, we all work in the digital industry and all this kind of stuff. Coming from, Joe Blogs on the street or whatever, who might, I don't know, see an advert for a sad donkey, because we do have adverts going for sad donkeys, that, might be in the middle of an ad break, watching X Factor or whatever crap is on ITV on a Saturday night, and they just might be like, oh, I'm really touched by this. I just want to make a quick one-off donation. If their information is already there in Facebook, they don't have to sign up to Just Giving. They don't have to go through all that rigmarole of setting up an account and all this kind of stuff. and they can literally just donate a £5 through Facebook. From a user journey point of view or a supporter journey point of view, that's so much easier than just giving. So obviously, I mean, in my opinion, like obviously just giving is very much for like if you're doing a big fundraiser, you would never just give a one-off donation to a charity through just give. Well, you might do, but you'd probably go to the charity's donate page, whereas, you know, some charities don't have mobile optimized websites and all this kind of stuff, whereas if you can just do it in Facebook and it's literally 2 or 3 clicks, and then you've donated and you know you feel good about yourself because you donate to that cause or whatever, surely that's better for both charities and supporters. Yes, of course, Facebook, you know, we don't know what their long-term goal is, but surely it's prompting the competition, like Just Giving and all this kind of stuff, to make it easier for people to donate in 2 or 3 clicks rather than having to set up an account and all this kind of stuff.
It's exactly the same reason it's bad as the reason it's good. It's just removing a barrier and funneling you down one particular avenue, one particular kind of a view, basically. So it's what everyone's trying to do, make it really, really seamless to log in, to have your card details there, to just impulsively purchase something in one click. It works for charities, it works for commerce.
Thing is though, I think it was Johnny who mentioned it before about like that level of trust with Facebook. If you don't work in digital or if you don't work in tech, Facebook is probably, you know, one of the only very few websites that you might go to, and the amount of detail that people share about their personal lives on Facebook, the average Joe Blogs in the street has a lot more trust for Facebook than somebody working in tech or digital. So surely that level of trust that, you know, the general public have with Facebook, that's what they're playing into, being like, oh, hey, you know, whack in your credit card details or bank details or whatever. So you can donate to, you know, Battersea Dogs Home because you've just watched Paul O'Grady's The Love of Dogs, or donate to the Brook. Please donate to the Brook because you've just seen like an advert or whatever.
Paul O'Grady's Love of Donkeys. Mules.
Exactly.
Horses.
That's next year. Or mules. But it's just that level of trust, it's already there with the average user on Facebook, whereas obviously, yes, working in social media, I'll sit here and go, well, I don't trust Facebook as far as I can throw them because of all the privacy and because of all the data, and obviously because that's one of the platforms I work on. But like my dad, for example, who uses Facebook, he puts like, you know, details of his life story on there, so of course he'd probably be more willing to put his bank details on so he could do a little bit of good in the world.
You're absolutely right. It's a massive UX plus if you don't have to come off product to donate, massively so. Every time you put an effective fundraising campaign on Facebook and it's a link to Just Giving and you have to click to go to Just Giving page, you will lose conversion because of that, because there's an extra step involved and it takes them off-site. And yeah, it's jarring, definitely true. So with that, there's a responsibility on Facebook's part that if they're handling that journey, they have to do their part, which I think is crucially important. In terms of people trusting them, I don't even think it's that people trust them with their details, it's that people are utterly indifferent in that they will prefer convenience over rage. So Facebook did a study recently that was abhorrent where on 0.04% of users, they tinkered with their newsfeed to show something negative.
Oh, is it the emotional? So they did it, so they showed loads of emotional negative stuff, and then they had another like selection which was dead positive, dead happy.
And the purpose was to see, it's even worse than you think, was to see if them filtering your feed to only show you negative stuff would make you more negative and downbeat, which is insanely dangerous. Because you'll have people with depression looking at their feed, and you're removing positive statuses from them. It was outrageous, and it was reported in the news. Nobody cared because Facebook's really convenient. Yeah. So it may be that people will see that, and you could release a news report how Facebook capture all this information with donation. Because I think we looked into this. If you're a charity and you set up a fundraising campaign on Facebook, what sort of information do you get from the donor? It's reasonably substantial, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fairly good. So you get their name, you get their image, how much their profile image, how much they've donated, and if they've signed up to email notifications, then you can get their email address as well. So it's not as though that information is just being gobbled up by Facebook and you'll never see it. Which is definitely a positive, and I think would have been very negative if they'd not let charities have that.
You can get their actual email address.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so if they
that's
agree to
massively
that,
surprising.
if they agree to that,
I'm presuming the one that they've signed up for Facebook
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So you often get these kind of leaks about what companies can do with Facebook and the information they can find, and people are in some way outraged by it. But it's so insanely convenient. They're not outraged enough to not use it. So that convenience of just being able to hit donate will massively win over any privacy concerns that a user has because they want to use Facebook.
Yeah, people are really lazy like that.
Yeah.
Finally, we're moving on to the rant of the month. Last segment, we are running out of time. And my rant of the month, so, okay, although people are really lazy, they don't tend to use search facilities on websites. So I'm really annoyed about search facilities on websites for a variety of reasons. Does anyone else have any feelings about this before I start?
We have this with clients a lot about search. Clients are always surprised how few people use search because our clients use search on their own websites to find stuff because until we fix it, their IA tends to be dreadful. So I just use search to find stuff, and when you point out that they're the only people doing that, they're always surprised.
Yeah, so to interpret what Johnny just said, IA is the site structure. So ideally, a website should be structured in a way that you can already find what you need. The navigation should just be seamless, and therefore people can find what they want. And that's the case. Most people start with browsing, so they'll browse your site before they go to the search box anyway. So it suggests that if they go to the search box, it means that they have failed to use your site structure. 14% of people will start with search, but that's across the board. So we're talking about massive websites here. We're talking about e-commerce websites that have thousands of pages. So yeah, of course, some people are likely to go straight to the search function because it's a really big website. But on the majority of the websites, we work on charity websites. They're not really, really big websites in the grand scheme of things. And we're talking like 2% of users, 1% of users that ever use the search facility. Yet everybody seems to want one on their site, and I just don't know why, and it annoys me.
Yeah. We had a workshop today. We had this exact same conversation with a client, and there were some times where it would be fine if you based a website around where if search is a core component of that website. Google would be a prime example where you go to the Google homepage. There's a search bar. It's a pattern that users are familiar with. You throw it in. Extremely expensive development of that search. I imagine it's not going to be like WordPress default search on the Google homepage. If that's right for your product, fair enough. But if you've got a well-structured navigation and the side search kind of in the top right corner, people aren't going to use it.
No.
Or if they're using it, it suggests that your navigation's failed.
No, and I'm absolutely not saying that every site should never have a search facility, but it's just that everybody seems to want one automatically because they've seen it on one website once, and that isn't the case. In the majority of cases, you don't need a search facility. I mean, there are positives to it. You get information about what people are searching for, which is great. It can show a load of things like what are people interested in about your site.
except no one searches.
But no one searches, so you don't actually get that much data, and it's not relevant. 2% of searches on a site is not going to give you enough information to really do anything with. Search facilities, and if you do put them on a website, because Google's search facility is so amazing, you get exactly what you're looking for on the first page. That's the point of Google. That's its entire existence. It's amazing. So any other search facility, when you add it to a website, it's never as good as Google. So people are always disappointed with it because they can never find quite what they want. It's not bringing up the right results, but because we're spoiled with Google search, and it never lives up to that.
It can. You just have to spend a load of money. So you've got to decide: do we have a horrendously basic website with a kick-ass search function, or do you have a website where people can actually find what they're looking for? Well, unless you've got tons and tons of money and you're a massive retailer like Amazon or someone like that, where you can. Well, I mean, they don't have to have a pretty website. They just need search bar lists of products. And no souls.
And really good browsing facilities.
Yeah, you throw that in there as well. But good SEO, why would you need a search bar? Because then people just go on Google and go direct to your search results.
Yeah, it's stuff where you're selling a lot of products, or you have a lot of listings where I can see it handy. And things like Amazon and YouTube and the like is where search is kind of really, really key. Kind of the sector that we work in, less so, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it goes back to that whole thing of why do people want it there? the kind of thought processes of, is it just because they've seen it on somebody else's website so they think we need it, or is it, we've discussed gender quite a lot here and mentioned having titles at the front of names like Mr, Mrs, Miss, Ms, Mix,
Reverend.
and Reverend. There was one I saw
Captain,
today.
Captain.
Dame.
Doctor.
Emperor.
Dame is
Emperor.
on my
Yeah.
passport.
And a few people I've spoken to have said that the only reason that's in there isn't because that there's any kind of active thought of, you know what we really need in this form is a person's title, because that is going to be a really key to how we segment them in their demographics. We can have all the Mrs. and Mrs. in different segments. It isn't in there because of that. It's in there because it's just the norm and no one's actually bothered to go, we don't need this. Just fucking leave it out. But yeah, people just do it because they think it's the norm.
I want to know exactly how many dames are donating to my fundraising campaign. That's what I want to know.
I hate
all I care about.
Someone actually said that to me recently. That was actually something they looked for, was doctors and dames and so on, because they realised they could be higher value donors.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
kind of makes sense.
That's
That's
magnificent.
annoying.
That's
I'm
brilliant. Well,
desperately trying to think of a reason, a different way of finding
Yeah.
that information out, but I can't.
Still stupid.
Well, you could just look at the donation amount. If somebody's made a one-off donation of like $2,000, maybe a high-value donor.
Well, this is the thing. They felt they could work the dames.
Right. Right. That sounds like a 1920s.
It really does
like,
work the dames.
work the
Ben.
dames.
Work
In my
the
day,
dames.
Faye, it was a hit on Broadway.
Yeah, but if you've got some like cheap ass dame coming donating £2 and you're like,
Hey, we're all thinking Helen Mirren. Let's not.
oh god no,
Classic
she would
mirror.
not be cheap.
I love
On that note,
I love Helen Mirren, just to clarify.
But
She's a
yeah,
national
if you've
treasure.
got just a dame who's donating £2 and you're going to be like, I reckon we can get more out of her. It's like, pretty sure if she's donating £2, probably not.
You could be on Hard Times.
Well, yeah, there you
Prophecy
go.
Rich
A hard time dame
Classic dame
is-
problem.
Hard time dame.
Hard Time Dame is the title of my
That's the
next.
follow-up. Yeah.
That's
my-
the sequel to Working Dames.
Yeah, it's my next noir novel, Hard Time Dame.
Out now on Amazon with a great search function.
It really is.
You type in dames, it's like top 3.
Hard time, yeah, it is. in the
Dames
top
and
three.
tools.
Dames and
As your
Tools.
podcast title.
It's the name of my comedy folk band, Dames and Tools. I'm the dame, Greg's a tool.
so thanks for listening. Maybe review us on iTunes or whatever.
Not this week.
1 star.
Thanks to the wonderful Reason Digital for helping making this podcast happen. If you do want to talk to us or send complaints, which is clearly more likely, our Twitter is @techforgood, not the number 4, MCR. Tech for Good, MCR. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Ben.
you.
Bye.
Bye.